Is it possible to put together a Storm deck in the Pioneer format, utilizing only a total of 14 rares and mythics? Because that is the focus of today's video. Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the hottest in budget deck technology. So without further ado, join me today in the Pioneer format as we continue our deep dive into the secrets of Strixhaven with today's deck that I'm simply calling Prismari Storm. Prismari Storm, as the name implies, is trying to utilize the most broken mechanic ever created for Magic the Gathering, Storm, which some way somehow managed to make its way into the set. But in doing so, we'll hopefully be able to chain together a ton of spells, and by creating copies and copies of them, we'll hopefully have a critical mass, and we should be able to use a couple of key spells to either slowly ping away at our opponent with enough copies to win the game, or we can then use all the mana and treasures we'll be generating to make one massive big burn spell that's uncounterable and hopefully burn out our opponent in one fell swoop. So now that you have a general idea of what we're trying to do, let's cover the rest of the deck to explain to you how we're going to get to that victory. Starting at the top right here, we have Stormcatcher Mentor. We played this card a couple of times ago when it was actually the Otter Storm deck, but the same principle applies here. Haste and Prowess, and instant and sorcery spells will cast one less to cast, as long as it doesn't get blown up, which usually tends to happen a lot. But if it survives, we can definitely cheapen the cost of our spells, which really will speed up our whole clock. We have Blazing Firesinger here, a brand new card from the Strixhaven set, Dwarf Bard, and it enters prepared. Remember that in order for you to utilize the instant or sorcery card of a card, you have to make sure it has prepared if it has this mechanic, which of course here, it uses Seeding Song. If we can cast that for 3 mana, we could add 5 red mana, which can help us again ramp out our package. And at the top end of the curve here, we only need a single copy of it, but we have Prismari, the Inspiration. So this is a 7 mana, 7/7 Elder Dragon legendary creature. It has flying and ward where you have to pay 5 life, but some people are willing to pay that in order to destroy our dragon. However, if it does manage to stick, instant and sorcery spells of all kinds have Storm, which is insanely crazy if we could manage to stick that on the field. Now before we get to the actual main part of the package here, we still want to talk about some of the utility spells we have. We have Flashback, Volcanic Spite, and Prismari Charm. With Flashback here, literally giving any one of your instants or sorceries flashback until end of turn. Remember that again, the flashback cost will be equal to its mana cost. With Volcanic Spite here, it's mostly against spot removal, only a couple copies because sometimes you run into games where you don't need the card, but in case you do need it, it helps you out. Just again, hit something for 3 damage, and put any card you have from your hand into the bottom of your library and redraw into a new card. And then finally, we have Prismari Charm, which allows you to pick one of these 3 abilities, where you can either use it to surveil for 2 and draw a card to help filter your next draw, or you can use it to deal 1 point of damage to each of up to 2 targets for some tiny spot removal, or just bounce back a non-land permanent to its owner's hand if you just need something out of the way. Moving on from our utility spells, we now have our ramp and card draw package here, which is going to be utilizing Consider, Flick a Coin, Big Score, Resonating Loot, and Rapturous Moment. So starting at the top here, Consider just simply allows us to surveil and draw a card, perfectly for filtering to get to what we need. Flick a Coin is going to be good here because it pings your opponent for 1 point of damage. You can create a treasure token and also draw a card, so it's a little bit of everything that the deck needs. Big Score here makes you have to discard a card, but then in the process, you can draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens to help us with pseudo ramping. But all this won't matter because we still need, of course, the key piece to help us again storm off as fast as we can, which is going to be Resonating Loot.
Come on, baby. Papa needs that crappy.
Resonating Loot here is going to be a 4 mana artifact that says lands you control have tap to add 2 mana of any one color, and you can spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery cards. And finally, its secondary ability allows you to tap it to draw a card. However, you can only activate this if you have 7 or more cards in hand. Thankfully, with the way our deck looks, we have no problem getting to 7+ cards to help draw more cards with Resonating Loot. But once this hits the field, then we would definitely start ramping out with our spells to then cast a ton of stuff with the amount of mana we can produce. However, sometimes you may want to convert that mana into things that might be usable for non-instant or sorcery spells. So we have one more card to help us out with that, which is Rapturous Moment. This is a 6 mana sorcery that allows you to draw 3 cards, then you discard 2 cards, but you get to add 5 mana, 2 blue and 3 red to help us with our package. Keep in mind that because of how Resonating Loot works, sometimes again tapping things down with your lands may seem a little clunky, but again, Rapturous Moment can convert that mana into usable mana for any spell you need to cast. But the other key piece besides your loot and the Rapturous Moment is going to be the one and only 1000-Year Storm. This is going to be a 6 mana enchantment that reads that you cast any instant or sorcery spell, you get to copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you've cast before each turn. In other words, that just basically means you get Storm, if you will, with every copy, and even spell you cast. So to put this another way, if you were to cast, say, a big score on the first part, that means you don't get a copy. However, if you play then flick a coin next, you get that spell plus 1 copy. Then with consider, then that's the spell itself and then 2 copies. You kind of get the idea from there. So that's why it's a key piece to help us make sure we can start storing off quite literally to make sure we can get to our victory. But the final piece, and we only need a single copy of it, it's going to be Banefire here. So this is a sorcery that has X and red. This sorcery allows you to deal X damage to any target. However, if X is 5 or more, the spell can't be countered and damage can't be prevented. So if you want to, you don't have to actually scale this up a ton in order to get it to win. You simply just need to get copies of it to then burn out your opponent. But in case if your opponent does have a way of stopping it, that's why you want to be able to cast this for X meaning 5 or more to make sure it cannot be stopped no matter what your opponent throws at you. Now, as far as your mana base is concerned, although we are a budget deck, we still kind of stretch the budget a little bit this time. So we're going to be trying to squeeze in 4 copies of Riptide Verge. We'll have 11 mountains and 5 islands. We'll also throw in some Maestro's Theater here to make sure we can fix for our mana that we need. And also getting that 1 extra point of life can sometimes mean the difference between a victory or defeat. Hey, real quick, my fire friends, I have to interrupt this part of the deck type for just 1 second. So although we have in the main deck Riptide Verge, I didn't realize how expensive these cards were. I didn't realize they actually jumped all the way to $23, $24 a copy. If I was to do this over again, just cut these lands and put in something way cheaper. Yeah, otherwise, you could get away with basics for the deck. I just wanted to add that in. That alone, cutting these would save you $100. So this would put the deck price down to about $50. Just wanted to get that little FYI out there. Any case, let's get back to the actual deck. If you do want to play this in best of 3, here's what I'd recommend for you for your sideboard. We don't want to use any of the mana for anything but our instant sorceries, so Tormod's Crypt is perfect for graveyard hate because it's literally a free spell. In case of you need to throw in an alternate win con, you can throw in copies of Tome Scour here, making a target player mill 5 cards. We can then utilize here End the Festivities. This can also be a hilarious way to copy it over and over again because this deals 1 point of damage to each opponent, each creature, and planeswalker they control. You can actually burn out your opponent and you can wrath them if you manage to copy this multiple times. If we want to go for the aggro win, we can throw in a copy of Wild Ride here. This, of course, copied over and over again is hilarious because it gives the creature +3/+0 and haste until end of turn. Putting this on, say, Prismari, or even sometimes, say, your Otter here, can also be a fun way to win. If you still need it beyond even that, maybe your opponent has like hexproof on them, you can throw in Prologue to Phyresis. If you can get to 10 poison counters with this spell, you can also find that win con within this. And then finally, we have a couple copies of Broadside Barrage here. This can sometimes replace certain things if you need more spot removal against certain opponents, but it can still help you with your game plan because it allows you to draw cards and discard what you don't need. But otherwise, that is the whole game plan for you in a nutshell, everyone. So of course, let's get to the more exciting part of this video. Let's go ahead, let's see if we can storm off in the Pioneer format. Let's play some matches in best of 1, and let's see how well the deck can do. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content. You can support me monthly for a small amount on Patreon, where I have all of my extended bonus footage posted. We also have a Redbubble spot where you can buy merch like stickers and shirts, or for free, all you can just do also is just join our growing community on Discord. Your support helps keep this channel going. All links are in the details below. Okay, my fire friends, here we go. Can we Prismari Storm off here in the Pioneer format? Well, what we see here, a little clunky because we can't quite get what we need. So let's mulligan this, and okay, this mana can work. We can make this definitely work. Just gotta hold off here as long as we can. So we're gonna keep this, put away a flick a coin, and go from there. All right, so mountain and pass. Let's see, opponent, what you have. Also mountain. Restless Lackey. Okay. Is it red aggro, treasure, or goblins? Could be one of any combination. Down to 19. Okay. Put down that Verge. Still nothing to use just yet, but that's okay. Verge land for our opponent. Back to the Soul Cauldron with a Boros deck? Interesting. Very interesting. Maestro's Theater. Okay, got our island, get some life back. They eat our card. War Leader's Call. Okay, so I guess it's just some kind of pinger deck? Okay, well that's fine. We can deal with that. That's not a big deal for us. So, Blazing Fire Singer. Maestro's Theater. Okay, from that we can get out... we got another island. We'll generate enough red mana in just a moment. Soul Cauldron once again, eating another one of our lands. Okay, Plains. Restless Lackey number 2. Taking us down to 17. Ranko. Okay, so it's Boros Goblins for sure. Okay. But let's see. Is this going to be enough? Okay, we did get another mountain, which is excellent. Seething Song. Generate the 5 we need. 1,000-Year Storm coming in. No attacks yet, but we will now start chump blocking with our Fire Singers. We're going to hope that we can slowly go off with everything else that we got here. Oh, they got another Cranko. Okay. Okay, dang. Opponent going all in with their goblins. Ugh, it's going to hurt. 14, 13, 12. Okay. We will block. Okay, we'll just do it that way. Fire Singer survives. We're down to 7. Okay, we did get another land, which is good. We kind of want those, actually. Flick a coin. Okay, that goes off 1. Okay, nice. We did get another one, so for that, flick a coin again. Opponents. Okay, we exile the card. Alright, that's fine. 2 things. Nice. Also nice. So from that, we can Volcanic Spite. So for this, not quite what we were hoping for, but we can copy this at least enough, so we should be able to take them all out. We're going to toss out the Fire Singer. Draw another card. Okay, land. We will draw again. And decline. Well, we came close to doing it there. You kind of get an idea of what we were hoping for, but we kind of fell short just a little bit. Okay, opponent does manage to then have this Cranko go off. So that means we are dead. Dang.
Well, this stinks.
There's the pings. And we are dead. No point in even trying to block that. We'll just let it go, so. Alright. Well, it's okay, everyone. Okay, my fire friends, here we go. Can we storm off here in the Pioneer format with our Prismari deck? We do have a way of cheapening the cost with Stormcaster Mentor. The Prismari Charm is in hand, and the Fire Singer can definitely ramp us out. We just need one of our big payoffs, and we should be good to go. Swamp for our opponent. Alright. Since we don't have a turn 1 play, Maestro's Theater can go out now. Let us get out one island. We have plenty of islands and mountain house to mix and match what we need. Swamp. Ooh, Scheming Silver Tongue. Okay. So I'm just going to try to do some life gain shenanigans. Thankfully, though, we do have in hand, of course, the 1,000-Year Storm, so looking good so far. If this can stick at least for a turn or two, 1,000-Year Storm should be able to do its thing. Another Swamp. Alright, so I'm assuming it's mono black. That probably means we're going to get blown away. No. Alright, turn 3 Thoughtseize. That's a joy. Dang, there goes the 1,000-Year Storm. Scheming Silver Tongue number 2. Okay. Interesting build, opponents. Get the Fire Singer in. No attacks yet. So let's see. I think our best solution here is... Okay. They will hit both. Ooh. That means they can prepare both? That's annoying. Sign in blood for one of them. They go to 18. Bitter Triumph. Okay. We lose our ramp there. Okay. Still going to keep trying a little bit longer. Down to 16. Okay, so let's see. I think our best... I mean, we don't really have much of an option here, but we'll try. Sign in blood again. They draw more cards. They go to 14. Liliana of the Veil. One's going to probably make us discard a card.
We'll have this fight finished before brunch.
What do they take down? Okay, so... Not ideal, but we're going to have to do this now. Surveillance 2. Probably don't need the Fire Singer anymore, so we'll draw into the Consider. Lose 1 Mentor. If we can at least have 1, I guess that helps us out. Okay, so... Island. Consider. Okay, don't need the Maestro's Theater. Where is the rest of our deck at? Oh, come on, deck. No, not like this. Oh, dear. Maybe we put in too many lands, but I feel like we have enough lands for the deck. Alright, Trustcaster. Okay. Alright, well, this is getting worse by the second. I'm going to spend one card. They trigger off both. So the Sign of Bloods continue to do their thing. They draw more cards. Joy. Okay, they make us discard. I mean, we only have mountains, so I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Okay. Another swamp. Okay, Verge land. Okay, can't do anything. Okay, well, at this point it's going to be one more turn, and we're probably just going to get completely destroyed here. They eat 2 more cards, they gain some life, that triggers off again. Can't block, really. Down to 8. Okay, 1 draw here. If we can get anything, that'd be great, but at this point it's probably too little too late. Sign of Blood again. I've definitely underestimated some of the cards from this set.
Drop it.
Okay. Okay. Fusion goes in. Alright, consider one more time. Do we get anything that's helpful? Flick a coin. Alright. Prowess still. Draw into the card, and it's another land.
No, God!
Absolutely terrible. Wow, that's probably the worst we could have done. Okay, you know what? It's fine. We're going to try one more time. I know this deck can definitely do stuff. Okay, my fire friends, here we go. Can we storm off with Prismari here in the Pioneer format? Well, from what we have here, we do have the Prismari Inspiration, Fire Singer, Prismari Charm. Although we don't have the blue mana, we can technically generate it with a Flick a Coin. Meanwhile, our opponent is playing some kind of gimmicky pile here that's over 128 cards.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Some way, somehow, an opponent decided to bring a jankier deck than I did. Alright, well, game on, opponents. Planes, alright. Need Transcendence. Okay, so for that, probably best to bring in the Fire Singer. Okay, so from here, if we can at least get a blue source, then we'd be right where we want to be. Runeforge Champion, okay. Okay, they got the Root of Might. Okay, beautiful. We did get an island, so that's exactly what we needed. Stormcatcher Mentor. And then we can pass the turn. It's tempting to go off now, but we need to wait it out for just a little bit more. Opponent's got a Forest. Light Pause, okay. On the Root of Might. Okay. If they get out what I think it is, which is going to be most likely Sheltered by Ghosts, which is the most logical thing they have, then we're going to feel very sad. Oh, they didn't have one. They went with a Hexproof. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. So in that case then, I guess we'll flip a coin now. We won't really get much cheap value, but at least we can draw another card. Close to where we want to be at. Okay, so we don't have the full combo here, but we can generate what we need. Prismari, the Inspiration coming in. And then from that, I have an idea. Alpha Authority. If it gets too wild, we could simply just... There it is. Okay, so what does our opponent try to hit us with? So whatever they do, if they hit themselves and pay the 5 life, we can simply just bounce away the Prismari thing in just a moment here. Watch, watch. We can do this. Okay. Opponent. They have to pay 5 life, though. Do they take it? Okay, down to 14. Okay. I'm trying to get a little cheeky here. Okay. So, we should be okay here. They swing. We will Prismari Charm. We bounce back. Bounce back the Sheltered by Ghosts. There we go. Okay. Okay. So from here, she's already provided her use. Down to 15. Okay, so we have one shot here to see if we can actually storm off with the Prismari Storm. So, are we feeling lucky? There's only one way to find out, everyone. So, let's try this. Let's try. Flick a coin. Okay, we'll take that.
This is where the fun begins.
Big score. Throw away a mountain. Storm's brewing. Storm's brewing. Fire Singer. Seething Song. Get a ton back here. Oh my goodness, it's going. There we go. All the red mana we could ever need. Now we're set. Okay, so we should be able to do this right now. Okay, flick a coin, ping at them. We'll just go straight to face. We might actually be able to do this with Prismari himself. Yes! Even without the 1,000-Year Storm, we're doing it! We're doing it! Yes! Oh my goodness, it's working! It's working! Down to 9. Volcanic Spite. Hit them here. Hit them here. Okay, so with that, bounce back the rest. We just stripped their light paws of everything. Okay, so from here, Rip Pyroverge goes away. Draw another card. All right, there we go. Resonating Loot. Just keep drawing into cards. I love this. Okay. Can't believe this is actually doing it. Oh, there we go. Rapturous Moments are our key final piece here, everyone. Okay, so with that, this is now more than enough. This is now just overkill, but I'm going to do it because we can. We came here to storm, everyone. Look at all those copies. Oh my goodness. Oh, opponent! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kind of just drag that out because we just had so many copies of everything, but there you go, everyone. We managed to do it. We stormed off. And there you have it, everyone. So that was Prismari Storm for you for the Pioneer format. And you tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Would you play this deck in any way, shape, or form? Now, I'm going to be honest. Anytime we do these decks, they tend to be high risk, but also high reward. Having said that today, as you saw, we did manage to pull off somewhat of the combo with a couple of our games, but we also fell flat horribly when things did not go our way. Still, while high risk as it may be, it is extremely satisfying to actually see it go off, even if your opponent attempts to quit before you can actually finish the whole combo. There's probably more efficient combos you can do in the format, but this unfortunately is not one of them. Still, I wanted to do something fun, and it has been a while since we did a combo deck, so I was overall happy and satisfied we were able to do it at least once in this video. Having said that though, if you do want to take this deck to the next level and you're willing to invest a little bit more because you might be just as crazy as I am, stick around for just a few moments and let me know in the comments below if you made it this far because you are my true fiery friends. And because of that, I'll be more than happy to share with you how I would upgrade this deck if I want to keep playing it and taking it to the next level. Now in terms of upgrades to the deck, here's what I'd recommend for you to get more out of this deck. Obviously, we're going to be cutting back on the mana base of our basics here. We're going to throw in all the rare duels we can squeeze into this mana base. So besides the Verges you already have, Pathway lands, your Shock lands, and of course the slow, I don't know what these are called anymore. They're basically the slow lands from the last Innistrad set. And of course, we're going to add in the Great Hall of the Biblioplex. So you can either use this to add generic mana, but if you're willing to pay the 1 life, you can then use this to then fix your mana for any instants or sorceries. And of course, it's built into it a creature land, which can help you, of course, close out the game if maybe you're missing just a few points of damage. As far as the upgrades to the main deck here, we're going to be swapping around some of the things. So Flick a Coin gets dropped, and instead we'll throw in Prismari Command, not only because it's a much more flexible card, but also it's on flavor. Otherwise, the only other thing we'll trim away will be 1 Prismari Charm here to add in Traumatic Critique. So this will be a nice way to kind of give us, again, a little bit more flexibility, allowing you to do more card draw. But if you do have extra mana left over, you can also use the X ability to do a little bit of extra damage to any target. You can technically copy this if you are able to with 1,000-Year Storm to then get more value, or even with Prismari the Inspiration if you are storming off. Speaking of other ways of making sure we can get to our victory, we're actually going to take out the Banefire and we're going to throw in a single copy of Wish. So this is a very unique card here, a sorcery at 3 mana that allows you to play any card you own from outside the game. For game rules, of course, such as Arena, that just means you can dig out of your sideboard whatever single card you want. However, if you can manage to actually have this go off with 1,000-Year Storm or Prismari the Inspiration, you can then wish for multiple cards out of your sideboard, which is a really sweet ability. Keep in mind, however, if you do wish it, you have to play that card on the same turn, so you won't be able to save it, so be aware of that if you do manage to wish out any cards. Speaking of, again, those cards you can wish out of your sideboard, we're going to then do some small tweaks to that sideboard. Keep your Tormod's Crypts, of course. We're going to keep End the Festivities, but we're going to trim down ourselves to 2. We'll own a single copy now of Tome Scour, Wild Ride, Prologue to Phyresis, and we're going to now move the Banefire to the sideboard. So with your wish, you can choose whatever you need to close out the game. If it's easier to, whether you want to mill your opponent, put a bunch of poison counters on them, if you want to then pump up one of your creatures and give it a big swing with both haste and a 3+, or if again, just go with the simple Banefire to make it uncounterable against anything your opponent has. If you do need to pull out any other things that are unique, we also have Skullcracks. So this is not necessary, but I do like this card for one single reason. If you have to pull this out, this can at least turn off life gain for a single turn, and also make sure the damage can't be prevented. And then finally, we'll throw in now 2 copies of Sweltering Suns, so now you have a Wrath in the sideboard that you can bring in, 3 damage to each creature, or cycle it away if you don't need it. And then to wrap it up, Alrund's Epiphany if you want to be a dirty extra turns player. If you can copy this, basically your opponent's probably going to quit on the spot because this is actually a really nasty card to then get. And with that all out of the way, here are my final thoughts that I want to give you on this deck. If you're a fan of spell slinging, if you're a fan of combo decks, and if you're a fan of a deck that can be high risk but also very high reward, then I would definitely say give this deck a try. And I assure you, when you manage to storm off and combo a bunch of your spells together, you're gonna have a lot of fun doing so. You'll be very surprised at how you can pull it off on today's budget. And when you manage to blow away your opponent with a giant Banefire, swing Winter Dragons and Otters, or just draw all the cards in the world with infinite mana, I assure you, you will definitely not be disappointed. And assuming your opponent does not manage to rage quit on the spot, I assure you, you will definitely not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.